underwater cave is a risky undertaking. The sport becomes extremely dangerous when a diver ventures into a cave that's never been explored. Today I'm going to be diving with the man who maps out these underwater cave systems that no human before him has ever seen. Cave divers are a rare breed. They dive in what's called an overhead environment, which means there's something stopping them from going to the surface in the event of an emergency. While that something that's stopping them happens to be solid rock. Eric Hutchinson is a cave cartographer, an underwater map maker, who calls the underwater cave systems in and around Florida's Silver Glen Springs his second home. Here on the Santa Fe River in north central Florida, I'm gliding over some uncharted territory. Beneath this mirror surface of crystal clear water, there are caves still waiting to be discovered, and one very artistic map maker who's up to the challenge. Hutcheson is considered to be one of the best in his business, and he's been charting these freshwater caves for 15 years, turning out detailed maps of underground passages which run for miles, and not just for geological purposes, but as an art form. Along with his detailed maps of the caves he explores, he also creates works of art from pencil and pastel.
I really enjoy seeing the caves. I enjoy the beauty of the cave. To me, it's like a sculptor. You know, the water carved through the earth and sculpted this cave.
Why do you do this? Why extreme cave diving?
Well, there's too many reasons, but one is you can get a lot of cheap thrills out of it. You're seeing a part of the earth that's totally undisturbed, never touched by human beings, by animals, by anything. It's a pristine, virgin environment. And when you start exploring through these areas, this charge just goes through your body because you're actually living art. You're living it. You're in it. You're seeing it. You're feeling it. It's a creation. It's like a piece of art.
Beyond Eric's art and personal reasons, there's an important public need for someone like Eric to map systems like this. Silver Glen Springs forms part of the Floridian aquifer, and it is an enormous source of fresh water for the state. Finding out where these subterranean tunnels begin and ends provides critical information which can be used to prevent pollution. Caves are dark, cold places, and many of the passages are so tight Eric has to push his air tank through first, then squirm through the hole after it.
You'll see that most of the times the tanks aren't even attached to my body. Most of the time the tank will be traveling in front of me in the passage to where me and my dive unit are two separate units.
This is called crunching. Pushes are dives that go deeper and deeper into the systems, and a master mole is a term reserved for the best cave divers around. Eric is a master mole. We're going to be diving in one of those places, a site which is off-limit to even certified cave divers. Now, Eric is an exception because he was the first one to map out these systems. He knows them inside and out, and we have special permission from the National Forestry Service to do one dive.
This system is one of my favorite systems because this is basically where I cut my teeth in the mapping business. This was my first big break as far as a cartographer and publishing my first map. And then on top of that, when we got inside the cave and started to explore it, it ended up being one of the most beautiful caves I've ever been in.
They operate on a one-third rule in terms of air, using one-third of the air of their tanks on the way in and another third on the way out, always keeping one-third for insurance. Cave divers also lay what is called a lifeline or lead line as they push deeper into the caves. This line is tied off at the entrance and then secured at regular distances inside the cave. The line is also pegged with triangular markers which always point the way out. At this point, I should reveal that my anxiety level has risen about 200 notches, making my stomach turn in knots. This is a difficult assignment for me. Dropping 60 feet, or 20 meters, into a black hole fills me with a certain kind of dread. as soon as I hit my deflator, I was sinking like a rock.
Some caves you're scared. Some caves you feel like, what the heck am I doing here? You know, it's a pretty tough situation. And then some caves you just kind of click into this more computeristic mode where you're just traveling, man. You're going through the phases and the scenarios that you know you have to do to get through the cave and to get where you're going to do the exploration. A lot of times we're traveling miles just to get to the end of the line to start exploring.
Air always governs our time underwater, and with a third of my air gone, it's time to turn around. It was absolutely beautiful. There were striped bass just swirling around us. But we saw freshwater eels. And we found a couple of fossils, prehistoric fossils from a woolly mammoth. It's a whole different planet.